Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our evening edition of Big Brother 22 All-Stars live feed spoilers. We have nominations to talk about. We have plenty of scenarios to go through. There is still tension within this house. There's also a birthday, but this is probably not a particularly happy one for Kevin.
No, probably not.
We're not at like Keisha's birthday level of just like chaos here, but still probably not great.
No.
Well, before we get into everything, if you guys do like this video, subscribe for more updates, give us a like, hit that notification bell, and support us further. Check those links to our Patreon and then also, of course, our store.
And also, we apologize if you can hear the leaf trimmers. Someone's out there trimming all the palms outside. So if you hear that, sorry, but that is what's happening. And also, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who went over to our Instagram. That was something that was really surprising. We sort of mentioned it offhanded this morning with, going to get the voodoo, which Matt was really excited about. And then we posted a picture over there. And then we mentioned everybody went over. It was really cool. We're not Instagrammers. So it was kind of cool that everybody did that. So thank you very much to everybody that did.
We are not Instagram influencers like the likes of Nicole Franzel here, people. We
are not.
We post pictures of cats in Minecraft and me apparently holding Mountain Dew bottles.
Yeah, that's a lot of it. And sometimes food that we make.
Sometimes.
Maybe we will post one of the cupcakes that I hope that you're gonna make.
We will see. They might be too terrible. I might try to post them, and Instagram's like, no, not allowed. All right.
Okay, well, we'll jump into the nominations
all right, here we go.
here. So it is Kevin's birthday, but Kevin isn't on the block.
Happy birthday, Kevin.
And Devon is on the block.
The logic here, there's a lot of things that I don't like, and then there's also a lot of things that make sense where if you are the Blob Alliance, the committee, right now, I think the objective is, because of the veto this past time, that Devon and Kevin, well, you probably knew before that, but Devon and Kevin are pretty much a duo. You want to split up the duo. Beyond all of that, they have been trying to make it seem like David went rogue on Devon and Kevin and voted to evict Ian, when in reality that was Nicole. So in not putting David on the block, they sort of keep this narrative going for a while that maybe David is really working with them to some degree.
Yeah, and I mean, he does have a little bit of a for now deal with Memphis going on, where they kind of made this deal that Memphis will not put him on the block, and he's upheld that. If David wins the veto, he will not change the nomination. So basically, only Kevin and Devon are the only people that can save themselves at this point. Nobody in the house is going to change those noms.
Unless David is straight up lying to Memphis's face, which I really hope he is, because what does David have to lose? I know we all sort of make fun of David here and there, but the truth is, David is certainly astute enough, I think, to know that he is not in a good spot when it comes to the numbers. He was just on the block this past week. I think he knows he's got to be a little bit proactive here.
The issue is that even if he takes somebody off the block, it is unlikely that whoever goes up against whoever is left is going to go home. It's not impossible, but it's pretty unlikely.
I still tried to map this out a little bit because I was curious to see, okay, is there a way hypothetically that we could try to make this work? So let's say, first of all, I mean, David would have to even be chosen to be in the veto, which is not official. David would then have to win the veto, and David, other than that power, has not really won anything so far this season, but he would need to win the power. Let's say he wants to smooth things over with Devon. He wants to repair that. She comes off the block. Let's then say Danny goes up as the replacement nominee. Could you get, ultimately, Tyler, Christmas, David, Devon to get rid of Danny? That would be it. Probably not happening. This is all fan fiction, but still.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a stretch. Yeah.
Come on! Wait, this is
Did
okay.
you hurt a muscle with that stretch?
And well, I'm already hurting a lot already. We've got Memphis as HOH for the next week here.
Yeah, Christmas is not going to vote out Danny. She likes Danny, so I just don't know how that would end up happening.
I think it's hard to really envision. I will still say, regardless, the ideal situation is still David just completely going back on this deal, which is mostly just, we know Memphis was probably not going to put David on the block anyway. This is just sort of him trying to strong arm David into sort of getting what he wants or else.
Yeah, they do want to break up Kevin and Davon, and then it still sort of goes back to that question that I brought up when Davon won her veto. Was this the right move? And I didn't really land either way on it. I just wasn't really sure. Yeah, it was great for her to use her power and keep an ally in the game, and typically I think that is the right way to go about it. But then she's put herself in this position this week where now they think that they're a duo, so now they're on the block together, and regardless, they were probably going to end up on the block anyways, because there's just the three of them on the other side of the house. But if Ian was still in the game and Memphis was the HOH, Ian would be the target.
I will go ahead and I know I'm armchair quarterbacking here, and I'm playing the game after the fact, because I know I said in the moment that I thought that Davon using the veto was the right move potentially, and I probably would have done that in that situation. But yeah, now looking back, this was a puzzle-oriented HOH. If Ian was there, let's say Kevin got evicted, there's a decent chance Ian could have won that HOH competition. And then if we're looking beyond that, based at least on some of the exit interviews I've seen from Ian over this past little while, it doesn't seem like he ever forgot about that Wall Yeller, Cody, and Nicole revelation that he had. He just never had an opportunity to act on it. So hypothetically, maybe Davon would have been safe in that situation. And as you said, if Memphis still won HOH regardless, we know I gotta avenge Dan Geese. I'm surprised he did not say when he was casting that vote, Dan, this is for you, buddy, as he was leaving.
Your Memphis is starting to sound a little bit like Russell Hantz.
My Russell Hantz is up here. It's different. It is the best impersonation of all time. Russell, don't come at me for this. I'm sorry. It's
oh dear.
The Memphis is I think it's the drunk, more southern cousin of Russell Hantz in my impression guidebook, which is not accurate. Let's make this very, very clear.
My impressions are terrible. That's why I'm leaving it to you.
I will go down with this ship when it comes to the impressions, but it's a fun thing to talk through. Obviously, there's no way Davon could have anticipated events unfolding in the way that they have, but
no.
In retrospect, this is where we are.
So who is the target? Here we get into this.
Okay, so I feel like Kevin is probably the more dangerous of the two in terms of I think he's more capable of winning an array of competitions. We have seen also that Kevin can have these moments where he becomes a big brother savant and he figures things out, and then he has some other moments where he's just not just off the map, he's not even in the map store that you go to buy the maps at.
The other issue with Kevin is that he has been sort of a bit of a sad sack this season, which does make people feel bad for him. But everyone also knows what he's going to do with that money. He wants to adopt with it. And I wouldn't want to be sitting next to him because I'd be like, give Kevin the money, man. That is such a special thing that he's going to be doing with that money. I'm just probably going to be vacationing and stuff with it, right? I'm not changing somebody's life.
I think it is also a situation where we've seen Kevin get late in the game before.
Yeah.
And I will still, no matter how bad Kevin may have been at times this season, I still contend that move that he made, pitting Russell and Jeff against each other in season 11, is one of the most underrated moves in Big Brother history.
Yeah.
I was a huge game-changing thing that he did back then. So I would be more worried about Kevin. But I feel like some of the dudes may be a little bit more worried about Davon. I don't know if this is women's alliance fears or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, the women have not done themselves any favors this season. They definitely didn't do themselves any favors by making this women's alliance and then telling all the men about it.
it's never good, and you get paranoid in there. Like, even if you know, like, I think all the guys are probably well aware that this idea of a women's alliance is just pure nonsense.
Of course, because they all know about it. So if they know about it, then they know that it's not being held together very well.
But they might still be thinking, okay, maybe there's like one tiny piece of like Scotch tape that like people are sort of hanging on to on some level, and they just like, they want to get the big scissors out and just like cut it and then take it out completely. The guys do, if, like, let's say Tyler, Cody, Enzo, and David, like, they could hold a certain degree of power here, especially if Davon and David don't patch anything up here.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, a lot of this does hang on that sort of relationship. Can it be patched up? I mean, things got really heated.
It is just a crummy situation that we're in. I mean, we went into it a lot this morning where Davon feels betrayed that David cast a vote to evict ultimately Ian, which he did not do.
Nope.
But she hasn't been able to figure out the truth. Nothing has really gotten better since this morning, and the biggest issue here mostly is that even Davon is having these conversations with Danny, with Nicole, and they are all sort of holding tight to it. They're not giving any sign that anything different had happened. Like, they're really feeding more into that paranoia that Davon has and making it feel like even more of a sure thing that David did this.
It's just such a, like, this is becoming so destructive in the house, and like, this feels like it has gotten so personal now that I'm kind of surprised that Nicole is really still going along with it, that it's not more of, at this point, just a, you know what, it happened, it's here we are, you know, let's all kind of move away from it, instead of being like, somebody pass me some marshmallows, let's start this roast and getting it worse. Right? Like, it's just, you're fanning the flames too much. You got what you wanted. These two are mad at each other. You don't need to keep stoking the flames and making s'mores on them.
It feels like also they've sort of handed Tyler a metaphorical stick so he can put some marshmallows on it, to continue your analogy, because he's basically acting as though he's upset at Nicole for something that, you know, she didn't even do, and trying to be like, oh, you know, Nicole, she's off moping around in the house or whatever, and I'm annoyed by it. And it's just really ironic, by the way, hearing Tyler, who wanted to quit the game like a week and a half ago, being like, you know, I don't really like this person's vibe in the house right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I get it as some gameplay, but they already accomplished what they wanted. Like, what is it that they want now? Like, how much worse does it need to get? I don't think that Davon and David are going to be able to mend anything. I think it's just kind of done. Even if David uses that veto, I just think that trust has been broken for weeks. Like, it's not because of this.
The thing I'm really kind of interested to see how it plays out at this point is, let's say that Davon gets evicted at some point over the next couple weeks or so, and eventually as more and more jurors come in, she's gonna inevitably find out that David was being honest this whole time. But because of the very personal things that Davon has said towards David and some of the accusations that were there, and there are certainly hurt feelings that have come out of this, if Nicole is at the end, and, you know, Nicole and other members of this Blob Alliance, like, it was a game move. Like, they had no idea that it would go to the level that it has between David and Davon. But still, would you really want to vote for Nicole at the end of this if you're Davon? Because it is, like, such a thing that goes into this personal level. It may have been a game move, but it has spawned into something so much more.
Yeah, and like I said, it is continuing when it doesn't need to anymore. They already accomplished it, and they saw what the fallout was, so it's enough.
Well, we'll see exactly where some things go with the veto. I want to say that maybe we're going to get OTEV. This feels like it's kind of the time of the season when OTEV shows up.
I'm just nervous because, you know, yeah, we've had sort of variations of bigger competitions, but that one's a lot of setup, and we do know that there is less crew kind of setting everything up. So I just don't know. I really hope we're going to get OTEV, but I don't know.
I had suggested previously that we were just going to have a cardboard cutout of Dan Giesling and they were going to put Otev's voice through that.
That's
And he
right.
was going to be, I think now though, maybe they're going to, I hear maybe it's going to be Paul, and instead now it's going to be like, yo, I'm Otev,
Oh,
friendship, like, and that's
okay.
going to be the veto from now on.
You can see yourself out.
See, we're
And we're out.
yeah, we don't know what the veto's gonna be tomorrow. I'm excited to know. I think Zingbot's coming soon. I don't know if Zingbot's the neighbor. I know that's a lot of theory that people have out there.
Yeah.
But
And that would be a good, safe way to do it.
it could be. Okay, well, we'll tie this up. But what do you guys think about the nominations at the moment? If you are at this point, Davon, and you feel like Nicole has kept this sort of secret, that she has caused this chaos, would you still vote for her at the end? What ramification do you think that's going to have? Do you think Otev is coming tomorrow? Let us know in the comments. And also, if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, support us further. Check those links to the store, our Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.